Well, the talks were very much a first step. Now, the EU has been mediating conversations between both sides for months, and they've been doing that to avoid this exact situation, to avoid a humanitarian crisis in an already war-torn area. That was the objective, and so in many ways, people here in Brussels, particularly the EU Council President Charles Michel, who's been so involved in those discussions, will see this whole situation as a bit of a diplomatic failure. Now, the latest from those talks is that the EU urged Azerbaijan to increase transparency and access, both for international observers and for human rights teams trying to operate in the area, as well as humanitarian relief efforts trying to go in and help those people, most notably those recently injured in that fuel depot fire. So that is the progress of those talks. Frustration certainly by certain EU diplomats about the way things have turned out, but also laying the groundwork for a meeting between the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the European political community meeting next week in Spain. But it's very much, at the moment, a meeting about the initial stages for peace talks and a meeting about potentially having another meeting next week. Samantha Power, who's the administrator of the US aid agency, said she was troubled by some of the allegations of violence against civilians we've heard in the last few days. The situation, as you said, more than 50,000 people leaving Karabakh, heading towards Armenia. Armenia, a country of 2.8 million people, and even Nagorno-Karabakh itself only has 120,000 ethnic Armenians, so we're nearing half of that population fleeing down one road, trying to get to Armenia, trying to get to what they see as safety because they fear reprisals from Azerbaijani forces on ethnic lines. So that's certainly the concern. There's also concern about evacuating those wounded. We know that more than 100 people were hurt in that explosion at the fuel depot in the last few hours, and that will be a concern. Now, doctors have been allowed to fly in from Armenia to treat these patients, but certainly access to that region is still very difficult.